She got it out though.
But she did? Okay.
Yeah, a doctor was able to find the tumor.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome once again to Congregation Kol Ami. We are in our ever-continuing effort to make things rabbi-proof, and so now we have a new camera mount, and we have a new microphone, and God willing, I won't cause anything to fall over or flip out. So, as always, you know, we want to honor and celebrate our community, and particularly this night, we don't have Lindsay with us, and so the music of one another is the only music we're going to have because I'm leading the service. So let's begin by checking in and talking about the community that we have. So here in the room, we're delighted to have Harold and Bob and Steve and Adam and Sharon and Helena and what's your name? Don. There we go. And it's good to have all these people here, but we're also glad that you're here online with us. And we want to check in and find out what good and blessings have been happening. If you have anything to share with us online, please alert us. I'm going to begin by acknowledging the birthdays in our community this week. We're thinking of Devin Aurora and Dominic Bourne, and Lonnie Dietz and Shoshana Gross, Deborah Ledden, Gavin McDaniel, Aaron, I think we had Gavin on the list last week, so he's getting a double birthday, but he deserves it. Aaron Bernstein, Rebecca Kalman, Avery Dawsey, Deborah Kaufman, Wynn Marks, and Jennifer Shellef are all celebrating a birthday. We don't have any anniversaries this week, but now I just want to check into any good and wonderful thing that's happening to anybody in the room. Anybody have a good and blessing to share with us? Well, I guess we'll start over here on this side of the room.
So I have two things.
All right.
Number one, I got to meet Candace today.
Yes.
To meet Candace. And I officially received a promotion at work, and I got started with that and starting to transition off my old job.
Mazel tov. And what is your new title?
It's not even nearly as exciting as my old title.
Okay.
It's around governance and procedures.
Okay, governance and procedures, dude. You're the governance and procedures dude. Well, mazel tov for that. Anybody else have a good and blessing that they want to share with us? Helena?
We called our granddaughter this morning and wished her happy birthday for her 14th birthday.
14th birthday, and she's doing it under COVID. I am so sorry. That's tough. That's tough. But we do want to wish her all the best.
Mark Davis said TJ got her second shot.
Oh, good. Yes, people are starting to get their vaccines. It's very exciting. And I have to say the good and blessing that I got to experience this week is I was once again over at Texas Motor Speedway volunteering. I got to see another 7,000 people processed while I was there. And so it just feels, it feels hopeful. Yeah. And that's really, really a great blessing. All right. Any other good and blessing to share with us? All right. Now it's time to get Shabbat started. And have we ever needed light and warmth more than we do tonight? So I'm going to ask Helena Shabdossi to come on and kindle the lights of Shabbat and make us feel warm inside and outside. Watch this.
In the beginning, when the Spirit of God hovered over the darkness, God's first creation was light. As we kindle these Shabbat lights, we attest to the majesty of God's work and rejoice in its beauty. Light is a symbol of divinity and creative goodness. It is the outward sign of that inner spark which God has granted each of us. In hope and with love, we now welcome Shabbat with light. Whoa. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvot and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights. May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen.
And in the absence of a cantorial soloist, you get Rabbi's default service for Friday night. So we begin on page 2 with Psalm 95. Lechune ranena. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, v'tzur yishenu yitkadma panav v'todah. Naria, naria, v'tzur yishenu b'zimrot naria lo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Psalm 96 in the middle of the page. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exalt. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exalt. And then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its people. We're going to turn now to Psalm 99. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lahar kodsho. Psalm 29. Avu l'Adonai b'nei Avu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Avu l'Adonai kevod shemo. Ishtachavu l'Adonai ha'arat kodesh. Adonai oz le'mo yitain. Adonai yipared et amo v'shalom. Ascribe to Adonai, you children of God. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name, and worship Adonai in the beauty of holiness. May Adonai give strength to this people, and may Adonai bless this people with peace. And so I think I'm going to call on Steve and Don to man the gates as we honor L'cha Dodi and welcome the Sabbath into our midst. We're going to L'cha Dodi on page 7. When we get to the fourth stanza, it's customary to rise and we welcome the Sabbath into our midst. L'cha Dodi likrat kalai yadadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabelah. L'cha Adodi Likrat Kala Yala 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 B'nei Shama Nekavela Shamor V'Zavor V'Dibor Echad Ishmianu Eranu Gad Adonai Echad U'Shmo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Litila L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala 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 B'nei Shama Nekavela L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala 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 B'nei Shama Nekavela Likrat Shabbat L'Kubanecha Ki Mekor Kamaraka Merosh Mekedev Nesucha Soma Aseva Makshamatila L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala 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 B'nei Shama Nekavela L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala 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 B'nei Shama Nekavela Hitorri Kiva Ore Kumi Ori Uri Shidari Kevod Adonai Please rise. L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala Yala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala Yala B'nei Shabbat.
Did you turn that on?
Boi V'Shalom Ateret Bala Gam V'Sika Uzofola Tochemunei Am Sigula Boi Kala L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela L'Adodi Likrat Kala Yala B'nei Shabbat Nekavela. So rouse yourself, for your light has come. Arise, shine, awaken, awaken. Give forth a song. The glory of Adonai is revealed to you. So come in peace, you crown of your husband, with rejoicing and with joy. To those who are faithful, a treasured people. Come, O Sabbath bride, come, O bride. We continue now on page 9 with the Hatzi Kaddish, making our transition to the full evening service. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rava. Amen. Yalmad yifrach yirutei v'yamlit malchutei. V'chayecha u'yomecha u'chayecha kol beit Yisrael. V'gala u'rizman karim v'maru amen. Yehei shmei Rava mevorach le'am u'lam le'amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalam shmei kusha le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushechata v'nefemata dami ra'velma v'inaru amen. Please rise, whether it be in body or in spirit, for the Baruch. Baruch et Adonai Hamborah, Baruch Adonai Hamoram Le'olam Va'ed. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, whose presence fills the world, whose word makes evening fall. God opens the heavens, the gates of heaven, in wisdom, and makes time pass and seasons change. The stars in the skies move according to God's will. Adonai of hosts is the creator of day and night, causing day and night to alternate. May God govern us always to the end of time. Praised are you, Adonai, who makes evening fall. And Ahavat Olam, unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah, mitzvot, laws, and precepts you have taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are the length of our days, and then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people of Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated, everyone. We continue with the V'ahavta on page 13. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol lecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol yodecha v'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha Hayom al levavecha, v'shinatan levanecha, v'dibarta b'am, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'shoftecha u'kunecha, u'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totufot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam Amizuzot beitecha u'isharecha L'man tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lechem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. True and eternal, beloved and precious, awesome, good, and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai our God, you redeemed us from the land of Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. And like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing, the Mi Chamocha, everyone. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh telech, nora tehilot oseh telech, mahutecha ra'u v'necha, bokeh Lifnei Moshe, Zeli Anu V'Nanu, Adonai Imo, Adonai Imo, Le'olam Va'ed. When your children saw your might at the shore of the sea, this is my God, they proclaimed. Adonai shall reign forever. This night, God, we ask that you grant us the opportunity to lie down in peace and raise us up, O Sovereign, tomorrow to a life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace and guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful Sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. I invite you now, if able, to please rise for the tefillah. Adonai sefertatika ufia kitahinahecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagdol Hagibor B'Hanorah, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imot, U'Mevii Kulam Lifnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Ozer Mashiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Zerah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Tara V'Mashiach, Mechagel Chaim V'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol V'Rachamim Rabim, Tzomech Nochli V'Rofeh Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayeh Memunato, V'Shenei Afar, Mikamo Kamal Gevurot, Umido Melech, Melech Mimitum Chayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim v'kol yom yichavrucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and all who strive to be holy daily sing your praise. Praised are you, the holy God. Please be seated, everybody. And as our fourth bracha, our fourth blessing, we want to celebrate this day of Shabbat. We're going to be singing Vishamru on page 21, on the top of the page. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם בריתותם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתותם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. The children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, observing the Shabbat in every generation as an eternal covenant. For it is a sign forever between me and the children of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai God made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God rested and was refreshed. Let's say, Adonai our God, show favor to this people and lovingly receive our prayers. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable to you. For you alone do we hold in reverence. And we give thanks to you, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation for every generation. We thank you and we recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. We're going to finish out with Shalom Rav on top page 23, and then we're going to take a few moments for our own silent prayers and our own silent reflections. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Say shalom b'kroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'imru amen. May the one who makes peace above, may peace descend on all of us, and Israel, and let us say amen. Oh, say shalom b'kroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Amen. Well, this week is a very propitious week. First of all, because it's the Asian New Year. And though we may not fully appreciate that, the fact of the matter is that the Asian calendar functions pretty much like the Jewish calendar. It's a lunar calendar that adjusts itself to the solar cycle. They, however, celebrate their New Year in the spring, whereas we celebrate our New Year in the fall. But otherwise, that's pretty cool. Moreover, it is the year of the oxen, which I think is a very important intersection because our Torah portion this week happens to mention oxen. So I think that is worth commenting on. And so I'd like to start off with a reflection on this particular question, a kind of Talmudic question. An ox who can't avoid getting in trouble. What do you call it? An oxymoron. Good, that was the right reaction. All right, in our Torah portion this week, it says, if one man's ox hurts another's, that is the other ox, that it die, then they shall sell the living ox and divide its money, and the dead ox shall also be divided between them. Much of this week's Torah portion, Mishpatim, which literally means rules, deals with rules. It deals with civil law, and in particular, the law of damages. And one of the most well-known passages deal with the ox that gores, which has given us the famous American idiom, whose ox is it that's being gored here, right? So this portion, if it were written today, I have no doubt would deal with dogs or perhaps automobiles instead of oxen. But this is what we got oxen, so we got to deal with it. The portion begins by speaking of a shor tam, that is an innocent ox, a harmless ox. The owner of a shor tam is required to pay half damage, for though his animal did the damage, he or she had no way of anticipating that this animal was dangerous, so he's not fully culpable. But what if the ox proves to be a prior threat? What if the ox has attempted to gore other animals or humans before this incident? Then it is no longer a shor tam, it's no longer an innocent ox, it becomes a shor muad, a warned ox, a hazardous ox, or as we'd like to say, a high-risk ox, or perhaps just a bum steer. The owner is aware that the ox is dangerous and has to take increased precautions to guard the ox. If the ox gores another ox under these conditions, the owner must pay full damages. He knew what was possible. By keeping an animal known to be dangerous, the owner accepts certain liabilities. Robin and I personally understand this because our dog, Ripley, is a kelev muad, a warned dog, a hazardous dog. Docile and pleasant most of the time, she can occasionally get menacing and aggressive with other dogs and people. In one misadventure in which she got out of our front door, unsupervised, led to her getting ticketed. And now she is a kelev muad. She's been warned. The Talmud goes on to develop these ideas in the Torah even further. Certain animals are considered automatically innocent unless they develop a history of damage. But other animals are considered dangerous right from the get-go. If someone keeps a pet tiger or a rattlesnake or a chihuahua, they are considered to be mu'ad le'olam, warned from the very beginning, always a hazard. One cannot say that their tiger or chihuahua is innocent until proven guilty because we know what they're like. At this point, the Talmud then takes a fascinating turn on the topic in terms of people and their potential danger. It concludes, Adam mu'ad le'olam. Humans are always hazardous. Humans are dangerous from the beginning. Humans are considered an innate risk. And therefore, we must take precautions and responsibility to protect each other. A human cannot say, for example, I didn't know that several beers would impair my driving and cause the accident. No court would or should accept ignorance as an excuse when it comes to a human being. Humans, like tigers and nasty little yappy dogs, can be assumed to be dangerous to others, and we must protect the lives and health of the people around us. Humans who behave in a way that endangers others is just like an owner who lets the ox that gores roam free. That's why, for example, employees who handle food are required to wash their hands after they use the toilet. We are mu'ad le'olam. We're a hazard just by our nature. Look, we all know what's foremost on our mind. It has been a long haul. When the first COVID precautions were put in place, it was a year ago. It was around this portion that we started. And at the time, I imagined it would take 4-6 weeks for this to blow over. Even with my knowledge of background in medicine, however, I only knew the sweep and true scope of an epidemic for reading about it from history. Who of us has ever really encountered something like this? I was no more prepared for this than you were. And now here we are, a year later, in the dead of winter. But in the dead of winter, now there is light. If you've seen on television or you've participated in the awesome mass vaccination program that Denton County is operating at Texas Motor Speedway, as I have, you cannot help but look at that and feel hopeful. Help is on the way. And full credit to Denton County officials who have organized that. And I hear similar hopeful reports of mass vaccinations now happening in Tarrant and Collin County around us also. But our hope must be tempered with realism. We have to remain le'olam mu'ud. Denton County has given doses to 58,000 people so far, but Denton County has over 900,000 residents. We're not even close to resolving this problem. The ability to deliver has now outstripped the available doses. When I was manning the entry port at Texas Motor Speedway on Tuesday, you could feel it. We could have easily processed 10,000 people with the staff and the volunteers and everything lined up on hand, but that day we only had 7,000 doses. The early flood of people with appointments gradually wound down to a trickle by midday. So we're still working on this. This reminds us that we still have a ways to go. Most of us in our daily lives are still mu'ad le'olam. We have to assume that we are a threat to each other and that we have the capacity still to transmit COVID. So the wearing of masks, the washing of hands, the maintaining of distance has to continue. We have to maintain our vigilance. It should go without saying that if people are in public places, they should cover their mouths and noses and prevent catching or spreading this disease. It frankly has amazed me that this simple act of protecting others should ever have been controversial. In my mind, it's like claiming the right to let my ox roam free to gore whoever and whatever it pleases. It's my animal, after all. I can do what I want. In America, we love to speak the language of rights. Human rights, however, are an idea of very recent import. It was developed during the Enlightenment and proposed by John Locke, developed by Thomas Jefferson and our founding fathers. And most people are surprised to realize that neither classical Judaism nor classical Greek thought speaks at all about our rights. In fact, before the founding of the modern state of Israel, there was no Hebrew word for right. In modern Hebrew, they use the word zichiyot, which is actually classical Hebrew, means privileges or honorability. It's still used that way. So, for example, when you're discharged from the IDF, you get a ti'udah zechut, an honorable discharge. That's the essence of what zechut means. It really doesn't mean rights. So what we have to realize is that if we're going to be faithful Jews, our first thought is not what are my rights, but what are my obligations? What do I owe to God and other people? Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they're all the same. We use the language of mitzvot or commandments rather than rights. And as a human being, I have an obligation to behave in a way that protects not only my health, but the health of others. As the Talmud said, humans are warned from the beginning. Our ignorance or claim to rights are no excuse. We are obligated to behave in a way that shields those around us. This is true whether it means a dangerous chihuahua or wearing a mask. This week's Torah portion, which we read very early in the plague last year, returns now to remind us that we must avoid endangering others. And as human beings, we are warned from the beginning. But have hope. While we may still be ma'ud la'olam, chronically dangerous, we are also, in many ways, the authors of our own improvement. We can make ourselves better, whether it's by restraining our violent impulses, neutralizing our ability to transmit disease, or to treat that disease and vaccinate or inoculate against it. It is getting better. But to be the difference, we still need to stay the course. So we need to renew our strength, as Isaiah says, and continue the long march to that moment when we can all stand face to face with each other and not be afraid. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
So it's time for our announcements, and we have the ever fabulous Steve Ducar to come up and do announcements for us. Come on up, Steve.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome on this nice and crisp Friday evening.
Such a nice word.
It is.
Yes.
You know, it'll be a little bit crisper come Sunday and Monday. So just as a quick public service announcement, please make sure to check on your pets and your elderly neighbors and just your neighborhood neighbors in general. Make sure that they are not left outside or have enough warmth to stay healthy and safe. With that, I'm going to roll right on into our announcements for tonight. We have quite a plethora of list of things to cover. Starting off with my favorite topic, Green Family Camp Tours. Green Family Camp is excited to offer in-person family tours on our site in Bruceville, Texas for new and prospective families that want to learn more about what we have to offer at GFC. Members of our full-time team will be leading tours for individual families and will adhere to strict protocols and procedures to help ensure the health and safety of all our visitors. Information about the tours and all related details can be found on the CK website. Another great topic and ongoing event is Reading with Rabbi. Join along with the Rabbi as he reads Born to Fetch, Yiddish Language and Culture in All Its Moods by Michael Wex. The first session was yesterday, but it's not too late to join. There are still 3 more discussions coming up. So now for each session, we'll cover 3 chapters of the book. The sessions will be held the 2nd and 4th Thursday nights of February and March at 7 p.m. Your responsible to get your own copy of the book. If you don't have any other alternative, you can find a link for purchase on the website. If you purchase it using the link, we get a small donation back from Amazon Smile. And if you don't have Amazon Smile set up for your own personal account, you can do that. And if you have any questions in regards to that, please reach out to Bob in the office. He'd be more than happy to share that information with you. We also have Mishloach Manat. Purim is not the same without giving some goodies to those you love. So please join us for a CKA Purim Mishloach Manat exchange. If you've been wanting to do a mitzvah and put together some goodies for a friend or fellow congregant, here is our chance. CK will be hosting a secret Shlomo-style Mishloach Manat exchange. The Manat are gift baskets with food and drinks that you give to those who you love for Purim. While food and drinks are the traditional contents, you can include anything that you'd like. Some fun ideas outside the traditional baskets are theme baskets, such as a tea basket or maybe all blue or all green basket. Items can be purchased or homemade, doesn't matter, whichever you feel most comfortable with. And please be creative. You can remain anonymous or include pictures and letters from your family. Once you sign up using the link on our webpage, you will be randomly assigned another participating congregant. You must be signed up no later than February 20th, so just a few days away. You will deliver or mail your basket to them or before Purim, which is on February 25th. If you have any questions, please contact Casey Mashbaum or the office. A great program that we're continuing on with is our Lion of Judah program, and we've kind of expanded it. We're proud to announce the expansion of this Jewish learning program, the Lion of Judah. This is a program that's been part of our religious school curriculum for a while, and we're excited to now offer this to everyone in the congregation through videos in Zoom integration. Our first lesson is ready, and the remainder will follow over the next few weeks. Simply go to the Lion of Judah page and start with Ut Kavod number 1. Everything you need is included there. If you have any questions or need additional assistance, please reach out to our congregational office. Excuse me. And lastly, pandemic in Persia. Keep an eye out next week for all the details about our upcoming Purim Spiel, Pandemic in Persia, a Zoom Spiel. This will be a little bit different than our Spiel last year, but it will be lots of fun. Even if it's online this year. It will be pre-recorded, but we will do our live broadcast so we can all shake out our Googers at home. Boo online and enjoy the whole experience together. With that, I am going to move on and we'd like to honor those or recognize those that are in need of healing with our Mishabera today. Is there anyone here in the audience or online that has somebody who'd like to add to our Mishabera list? Yes.
Dory Reeves, Sarah Moore, and Susie Jacobs.
Thank you.
David Day, Kimberly Boland, Dana Howard, Manisha Ferrari.
Maxine Collins, Jim Clark, Mike Nelson, Tom Holiday, Dana Hall, Howard Hall, Shirley Hagan, and Sue Weber.
Thank you.
Joe and Jackie Blando, Lisa Riziello, and Deanna Dorio.
Thank you. All right. May the ones who blessed our ancestors also blessed Harry Anthony, Natalie Bolino, Karen Oxbaum, Tiffany Candelario Wilson, I apologize for the name mispronunciation, Debbie Freed, Maxine Collins, Sandy Cook, David Cook, Jerry Dietz, Pat Dukard, Gordon Ellison, Tammy Ferris, Ron Gardner, Michelle Griffith, James Hart, Ken Hirschman, Jody Hoffman, Deb Kaufman, Lauren Koenig, Alex Koenig, Sandy Letzner, Karen Moore, Hannah Cole, Judy Moriska, Herbert Paley, Adrian Sandler, and Myra Schussler. If you can join us on page 40 in your Siddur, and we will do the Mishabera. Mishabera Avotenu Lekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera Imotenu Before HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Dr. Koch, my friend, thank you. So just as part of the pitch for my class on reading the book Born to Kvetch, you'll notice I, for the occasion, got myself a Yiddish mask. And just to...
Backwards.
Is it backwards? It's upside down. Oh my God. There we go. How's that? Is that better?
There you go.
There we go. All right, there it is. And the translation, this is the translation, Yiddish phrase for we shall overcome, which is very uplifting. However, the literal translation is we shall outlive all of you. All right, so come and join me for many other insights into the tone and mood of Yiddish as we study together. We're going to turn now to page 82 to begin our transition to the end of the service. And I'm going to invite you all to rise. And I think I'm going to ask Adam to come on up and open the ark. Page 82, everyone. Aleinu shabeach ladon hakol, lateku layoser breshi, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam elkeinu kahem, v'kol aleinu k'kol amonam. V'nachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malkei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, she'unotei shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim v'imah, u'shkinatu so, V'go Elohim, Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu Echatzulato, Kakatu V'Torato, V'yadata Hayom V'Ashevota, El Levavecha, Ki Adonai Together we join in the middle of the page. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love to each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. And rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth across all the lands between the sea, and illumine your universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Bayom ha'hu, bayom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. And now is our time to reflect on and to remember those individuals close to us, acquaintances, friends, loved ones, relatives who we have lost, whether it be recently or whether it be at this time in years past. And we begin by asking, is there anyone who has lost someone in the last 7 days? We have no one listed at the congregation, but if there's someone you are aware of, you have lost, please let us know. We also are fortunate to not have any reports of a name in Shloshim, anyone who's died in the past month. Is there anybody here who has lost someone important to them in the last 4 weeks?
Leroy Reeves.
Thank you. And we honor these yard sites, these anniversaries of death of these people who are precious to people in our community. George Bond, Al Bornstein, David Epstein, Bruce Feldman, Philip Glick, Katie Jarrett, Jack Moltel, Dolly Cutliff-Knepp, Miriam Saltpepper, I think that's Saltpepper, it's spelled Saltpepper here, so I ask your correction for whatever I pronounce here. Gary Taylor and Lois Thompson. Is there anybody else here observing a yard site, an anniversary of death this week?
Ray Zimmer.
Thank you. The memory of all these people is here with us now. We honor their memory and those who mourn for them by joining together on page 85 to recite Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise if able. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi, v'alma dibrach l'uteh v'yamlith malchuteh, v'kayechon v'yomechon, uv'kayeh l'kol beit Yisrael, v'agalah izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbi v'barach le'olam u'lamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbahar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei v'yisham v'rechlu, Le'ilam Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushvachata V'Nachmata, Gamran Ve'alma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Mim Shemaya, V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimru Amen. Usei Shalom V'Yimru, Uyasei Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Yimru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated, everyone. So for a closing song, you know, unfortunately, there is a shortage of ox-goring songs in Jewish tradition. Otherwise, I would have pulled that out. Actually, I may call upon Robin in the coming weeks to compose the lyrics to an ox-goring song. But in the absence of that, I thought we would simply, because we did what was effectively a little bit of Torah study in my Gavar, that we would sing Al Shlosha Devarim. The world is maintained by 3 things. It stands upon Torah, it stands upon worship, and it stands upon acts of love. And that seems as appropriate a song as I can think of for tonight. So if you have your prayer book, page 94, Al Shlosha Devarim, and others, I hope you just know it by heart. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim. Al shlosha devarim. Al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. What are they? Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut hasadim. One more time. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut hasadim. And now, of course, we cannot conclude without just a little bit of a nibble, a little bit of a nosh, as we would say in Yiddish. And so we are going to say Kiddush to sanctify this day with the sweetness of wine. And of course, we'll say a motzi for the bread. I'll just bring it over here in camera range. In Kiddush, we praise God both for the 6 days of creation and the gift of our freedom from Egypt. And this holiday of Shabbat reminds us that we are a free people and we sit at the very center of the creative process that God has unleashed in the world. So please join me in Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei bari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon b'ilanu zikaron l'maseh bereshit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tzion mitzrayim ki banu v'chanta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'ratzon inchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim, everyone. And then finally, we say a bracha for challah, or for bread. Now, we do this because bread symbolizes prosperity and joy, but we also do it because it's challah. Nothing tastes like it, nothing looks like it. It's a very special bread, and it deserves a blessing. So, I forgot my sacred tongue, so everybody's going to have to reach in themselves.
Oh, no.
To get it. All right, would you go get the sacred tongues? Go grab me a pair of sacred tongues. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, please join me in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. All right, and in a moment here, I will be armed with the necessary tools to bring joy to the people in the room. We wish you all joy out there in the larger world. Stay warm. Stay comfortable, have some hot chocolate, some coffee. It'll be very nice. Maybe I don't know, a Mandelbrot or something. I'm feeling very Yiddish right now. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.